Hey guys, welcome to this week's episode. And today's guest is a Los Angeles based fitness professional who's absolutely drop dead gorgeous. Wait till you go check her out on her website. Her body is like to die for. She's got 20 years of experience teaching, training. She's worked at all of LA's most prestigious studios and fitness facilities. And we are so excited to have you.
Hello. That was a great intro. It's actually 25 years now. That's when I
Oh,
started.
wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
I guess I have to update that on my website.
Yeah. Now, I know that you have just transformed so many lives through fitness and healthy lifestyle changes. And so, Jill, tell us a little bit. And your website is it jillbrown.com?
Jill Brown Fitness.
jillbrownfitness.com.
And all my social media, you can find me on Jill Brown Fitness.
Okay, Jill Brown Fitness on everything. Now, tell us about yourself and when did you develop a passion for like fitness and what kind of triggered you to go down this path?
Well, when I was a kid, I suffered from a lot of depression, so I'll just share that. It turns out it's a genetic thing. I found out much later in life that it was due to a vitamin D deficiency. That's something I only found out recently. But I always felt like when I was moving, that I didn't know what dopamine and serotonin was when I was a kid, but I felt like when I was moving, whatever, anxiety or sadness I had would go away. And so I just like to move. I was not an athlete. I wasn't great at any sports, but I was good at just, exercise. Oh, in a physical fitness thing in school, you have to do some chin-ups. All right, I could do a couple. I do sit-ups. I could do those. So, I could move my body.
That's a great point because, every time you even just go for a walk,
Yeah.
or getting your body moving, it's amazing how you can go from being in a funk to just kind of feeling great.
Really, really young, like as a kid. And then when I became sedentary, like I'll just share with your listeners and your viewers that I played in these punk rock bands and I hung out with a lot of musicians. I grew up in New York City, and then I went to college in Boston. So I lived a very, very unhealthy lifestyle from my teens to my early to mid 20s, really unhealthy. Like I didn't know what good eating was, and I had gotten sedentary. I was playing bass guitar, so I was like sitting down a lot and eating really poor food. So my depression got way worse, and I wasn't doing any movement except during summers, like on summer vacation. Maybe I'd go to camp or I'd go join the YMCA during the summers or something like that. And I'd feel a lot better. And then it would start again. So I didn't know any of this till much later looking back, but the bad food and the sedentary lifestyle was making me miserable. So I said, you know what? I'm going to change my major and do something where I can move to LA. Because I used to watch, I don't know if you're old enough to remember a show called Three's Company.
Oh, I love that show.
So they're all like roller skating on the boardwalk and everybody's in like these little leotards, by the beach. And I'm like, I want to live there. Where's that? That's Santa Monica. So I just started to plan my life. Like, I'm moving to LA. I'm moving to LA. I'm going to look like those people. I'm going to be a happy, shiny person instead of like this depressed, like, goth looking girl. You wouldn't recognize me from half life ago. And so I got a degree in communications and a lot of production work. So I learned TV, radio, film, and journalism. And I moved out to LA and I started working in that industry in all different kinds of areas. But I got really heavy and I felt awful again because what happened? I move out here, I'm around shiny, happy people, but I'm sitting on my butt for 14 hours a day, blah, blah, blah. And I kept gaining weight and I would lose weight when a job would end, and then I would gain it, and then I would lose it and I would gain it. But the one thing that I did that was smart was right after college, I wanted to get a free membership to a gym, and they offered me, if I got certified, that I'd have the free membership and they would pay for my certification. So right after college, I started exercising regularly, felt a whole lot better, and the gym paid for me to get certified. So I brought that certification out here, and in between jobs, I would start teaching fitness classes. Make a long story short, over the course of my first 7 years out in LA, I went from working in production full-time to fitness full-time. And I still do a little bit of production work, but
That's awesome.
yeah, my full-time job is fitness, and I just felt better. I might not make as much money maybe, but I feel better. You know, I have a lot less, you know, depression. I
Yeah,
look
well, you look
better.
amazing. You look
Thank you.
Well,
And that's how it happened.
Yeah. So before we move to listener questions, I always like to ask our guests what they eat. You know, this podcast started off talking about intermittent fasting, which I know you're a fan of. So, what kind of eating pattern do you follow, and what kind of foods do you eat? Like, are there any foods that you eliminate or limit while you're in your eating window?
Well, I like to be a clinical trial of one. So I try pretty much everything. You know, I've tried the keto diet, I've tried paleo, I've tried vegan. And then I found out about intermittent fasting when research started coming out about it. I'm a really big science nerd. Another full disclosure is all my cousins are doctors. I really wanted to be a doctor, but my SAT scores were and I couldn't get into medical school. So I was like, all right, I'm going to move to LA and work in production. That's how that happened. So I'm a total science geek. I love reading research. I love listening to all these podcasts and interviews with doctors and researchers and hearing the latest stuff. So when research started coming out about intermittent fasting, I said, wait a minute, I've already been doing that for years because I would teach fitness classes in the morning. And, you know, unless you wake up at 4, you can't really eat and digest and then go teach a fitness class if you're going to be teaching, right? Or, you know, doing a workout yourself. So it just turned out that I wound up putting off eating for at least 12 hours, sometimes 14, maybe 16 hours a day. And then as the research started coming out, I was like, oh, I'm doing something good. Now, in my day, when I was in my 20s, I got a phone call from like the Maury Povich show or something like that. And they're like, we hear that you have an eating disorder. Do you have exercise bulimia? I'm like, who said that? Who am I going to kill? I'm like, no, I just don't eat until lunch. And
That's awesome.
back in the day, they used to think that that was an eating disorder. Like you were screwing up your metabolism or that you had some sort of like purging bulimia. They called it exercise bulimia.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and, you know, then about 10 years ago, I got certified in a lot more nutrition and I was like, no, it's just called intermittent fasting, people. Chill out.
Yes.
Now, a
Take
lot
a
of
chill.
people in the fitness industry talk about eating a ton of small meals. You know, all these people are, you know, I've heard with these, they're like, oh, you got to eat every 2 hours. You got to cram food in, even if you're not hungry. What do you say to these people in response to that about fasting?
Well, I've tried that too. Like I said, I try everything. I mean, there might be some fad diets. If it has no research, like the eat right for your blood type diet, I mean, just the research is like some guy made it up, right? The master cleanse, you know, that drinking the cayenne pepper, and some guy in the 1940s made it up. So you've got to have some clinical trials for me to try something. So there were trials that showed that people's blood glucose level stayed a little more level when they eat regularly. So I completely understand the concept. Don't let yourself have insulin swings because sugar spikes are bad for hunger. They make you overeat and they make you store fat. So I get what the nutritionists are saying, but is it necessary? No, it's not necessary because it still comes down to the law of physics, you know, energy in versus energy out. If you're eating 4, 5, 6 small meals a day, and that equals more than the amount of energy that your body spends a day, you're going to gain weight. So it's not necessary. They used to think a long time ago, and I didn't ask you your age, and I won't, but I'm over 50. And they're back during the Reagan administration, Nancy Reagan always used to say, oh, I stay so slim because I eat 6 meals a day from my nutritionist. Well, she probably eats like 20 calories per meal. She was a tiny little waif. And I don't know how she managed to eat so little, but you know, she's from LA, so maybe, so whatever she did. All I can say is that if you're eating lots and lots of small meals and it's totaling more calories than your body burns, it's no good. But if you have hypoglycemia and your doctor says you need to keep your blood sugar levels steady, that's fine. But one piece of research came out.
But here's the thing though, for me, I will tell you this, since I started doing intermittent fasting, my blood sugar has never been more stable. It's the weirdest thing that intermittent fasting actually stabilizes your blood sugar.
Right. I'm talking about the older studies. So what they
Yes.
used to think was that it's going to keep your blood sugar level steady. And they thought that every time you eat, your metabolism goes up a little bit. So you're going to burn more calories. Well, then they found out that that's about 4% of your total calories if you eat small meals. Now, I think that's been debunked since. And your metabolism, they found, actually is higher because if you intermittent fast for a while, like say 16 hours is what I do several days a week. And then you eat, now your metabolism is all revved up for the food that you're about to eat. And for most people who don't graze all day, they tend to eat less calories. So the reason why it works for most people is you tend to eat overall less calories when you compress your window. And it does rev up your metabolism just as much, if not more, than eating lots of small meals. So there you go.
Yeah.
And it also depends what's in that meal. You know,
Yes.
the higher your protein, the more you get that thermic effect of food. So eating protein and high fiber foods are also going to make you burn more of those calories or not store more of those calories.
All right, let's jump right into the question. This is from Cassie in Kentucky. I hate cardio. I've tried everything, downloading podcasts, watching TV shows, anything to pass the time on the treadmill or elliptical, and I'm bored out of my mind. I'm not really a group exercise person either. I love lifting weights and strength training, but everyone says I need to get that cardio in. What are good forms of exercise to get my heart rate up that doesn't involve 30 minutes on a piece of cardio equipment?
I hate everyone. Who is everyone? Who's that everyone person, Cassie? Everyone says that. I don't say that. I say women more than anything, I'm assuming you're a woman, women more than anything need to do more weightlifting and less cardio. So forget the whole cardio thing. It's not necessary, especially if you're trying to just trudge along for 45 minutes at a steady pace. If you are going to be doing cardio, do a shorter amount of cardio. So let's say you do 20 minutes, but you do 10 high intensity intervals. So you do, instead of 45, 50, whatever you're trying to do, take 20 minutes, run fast for 1 minute, walk for a minute, run fast for a minute, walk for a minute. You'll get the same energy expenditure and possibly more fat burning, could be, depending on how hard you work, than just doing 45 minutes. So don't worry about it. If you'd rather lift weights, girl, go with the weight training, because what people, it's not a two-way street. They're not mutually exclusive. Cardio does not give you the same benefits of weight training, but weight training gives you the strength and the same benefits as cardio. So if you want to lift 5 or 6 days a week, just get a good plan where you're lifting some light weights fast one day and then going heavy another day. So you can get cardiovascular work from your weight training by just lifting your weights a little bit faster, doing them in an interval format or a circuit format to keep your heart rate up. You're getting cardio from your weightlifting. You don't have to get on one of those machines. And then you can do your other days. If you're trying to build more strength, then do your strength training on the alternate days, but do your cardio with weights. I love that.
Yeah, I love it too. And I do hate cardio and getting on those machines. I love weight training, and I do weight training 5 to 6 days a week because I just enjoy it. I love it.
Yeah, more women need to do that. And women always think, oh, I need to do my cardio. Still, till this day, I've been preaching this for 20 years. Till this day, I still hear women say, oh, I got to do more cardio. I'm like, really?
Well, I will say this.
The one thing that I do that makes a major impact on my weight is walking. And I love doing it with my friends. Like, I can't stand doing it by myself, but it's so amazing when my body actually totally transforms when I do incorporate at least 4 days a week where I am doing walking. I'll do a in addition, I'll do 3 to 4 days a week. When I'm consistent with it, I definitely see my weight is down, and I just feel so much better when I'm incorporating that. So I would say grab a friend, go for a walk. You need that bonding time anyway. Take your spouse, take a friend. And I hate those treadmills, but what I do for my cardio is is I do those 3 to 4 mile walks, and I love it. It's so much benefit. Plus getting out in the sun. I try to do it when the sun's out, and adding that vitamin D is so good for you.
And I always say, get a dog.
Yeah, get a dog.
It's gonna make you walk more and be more active.
Hey guys, we absolutely love getting your questions into the podcast, but we're also interested in your journey. So if you've started intermittent fasting and have some success or even struggling a little bit, we want to hear about it. Email me your intermittent fasting stories to chantel@chantelrayway.com. Now back to the show. All right, Serena in Virginia Beach. A couple episodes back, your guest briefly mentioned the fasting mimicking diet, which is brand new to me. I thought it was an odd concept because the whole benefit of fasting seems to be depriving your body of food to give your digestive system time to rest and your body time to heal. Can you talk more about how this works, and is there a certain system that you purchase or follow?
I am glad you asked that, because I wrote a blog post, which I can send you the link to if you want to put that in there.
Yeah, let's put that in the show notes.
Okay. I wrote a blog post about the fasting mimicking diet because I interviewed one of the owners of the company, and it's based on research. The guy whose research it was based on is a guy named Dr. Walter Longo. And the product that he created, or that his company created, is called Prolon, Prolon. And I'll send you links to that. And what he tried to do was find a way where you can eat just enough food where your body doesn't realize it's eating food. So every time you put food into your mouth, depending on what it is and how much it is, you have something known in your metabolism as a nutrient sensing pathway. But the way they designed it with Prolon, and this is the only one that's been clinically tested at USC and funded by the NIH, the National Institutes of Health, by the way, they found that with just this right combination of food, and it's a Mediterranean plant-based diet, very low calorie, but just enough to sustain you. You don't lose any muscle like you would on a water fast or any other kind of fast. Because it goes 5 days, you get the benefit of stem cell regeneration, which a 1 day or a 2 day fast doesn't give you. You have to fast longer than 3 days to get stem cell regeneration. You also get autophagy, which also happens somewhere in the transition of the second to third day. And that's when your cells clean themselves up. So cells that are dying, cells that are damaged, cells that might even have cancer actually start to get broken down, and your body goes into protection mode and says, all right, we got to get rid of all of our bad baggage. We got to just sweep that stuff out. That's autophagy, sweeping out the garbage and keeping the good, healthy cells. So you get that benefit from it too, plus weight loss without muscle loss. And he spent 25 years developing this, and I stand by research. I saw the research. I saw what it did to cholesterol. I saw what it did to blood sugar. I saw what it did to body fat stores, maintaining lean muscle. It especially targets abdominal fat, the dangerous fat, visceral fat. So I think it's great, but you have to do his system until other doctors may come out with their own system, but they've not been clinically trialed. Only the Prolon one has been clinically trialed. And the reason why it works is your brain doesn't pick up on the fact that you just ate some food. The foods that he picked, which are like high fat and plant-based, don't trigger nutrient sensing pathway. So your body thinks you're just drinking water. And that is the brilliance of it. And that's what blew my mind. And that's why I've been promoting it. And I get a $25 off discount code too that I can give your followers.
Okay. And one of the things that I think is interesting is that, in my book, I've interviewed over 1,000 women, and, every time I ask them, what do you eat? Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And what's funny is when the most of the people ate 2 times a day, that was it. They ate lunch and dinner. And then some of the people did say, I do eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And the crazy part was, a lot of the times when the people did eat something for breakfast, it was like the things that he suggests on the fasting mimicking diet. It was very low calorie and very small amount. And so I just thought that was interesting that the people I did interview that ate 3 times a day, they were people who were eating these things that were very low calorie, and your body almost didn't even realize that you were eating something.
Yeah. Now, I mean, I can't say exactly what foods those are going to be because in the Prolon kit, it comes in a box and it's like soups and some kale crackers and some olives. And then they have a nut bar, which is high fat. And, it puts you into ketosis on the third day. So I can't really speak to what, to what the other people are eating. But what I can tell you is that I'm not a big breakfast eater, but I wish I was. Because I like to work out in the morning. One little trick, secret I can give your followers is that if you are going to skip a meal, for all of you ladies who are doing 2 meals a day, it is better. You will lose a little more weight and you'll feel better and you'll sleep better if your meals are breakfast and lunch, or even a very late lunch, and you skip a late dinner. So if you can do the circadian rhythm, time restricted eating, and you cut off your food 6, 7, 8 o'clock, just like your grandmother said, don't eat late at night, you really do see more weight loss benefits because your body burns more calories in the early part of the day.
Okay. Alice in Greenville. She says, I have arthritis in one of my knees, and my doctor told me that walking on an incline is one of the worst exercises I can do for it, which I always love to do because it makes a difference in my butt and legs. Squats and lunges with weights can be painful, and I just hate pushing it because my knee hurts so bad the next day. I do enjoy spin classes, which don't bother my knee because of my work schedule, but I can't do it every day. What are some other good workouts that are good for shaping my legs, but don't put so much strain on my knees?
That's a really good question. And I might go to a different doctor because I think your doctor might not have it exactly right. I'm not sure. I mean, if he's an orthopedist, then he definitely is leading you in the right way because he's looking at your MRI or looking at your X-ray. But the danger of hills is not the uphill, it's the downhill. That's where the pressure is on the knee. So if you can find a way to walk on a treadmill where there's a softer surface and walk uphill, it's great for your butt. And if you think about it, I'm going to use my hands here. When you step up, you're actually taking shorter steps than when you're walking on flat. So you're putting less pressure on your knee to walk uphill. Now, I don't know what type of, what issues you have. So maybe your doctor is giving you the right advice, but I would just check with a second doctor. It always is a good idea to get 3 opinions instead of 1 and go to a guy who's a knee specialist, because if you can tolerate it and it's not hurting you to walk uphill, I would walk uphill, but not go downhill. Spinning classes, fantastic for your knee. I've been a master spinning instructor since it was invented. I worked for the owner of the company when it first launched. Make sure your saddle's not too low. If you sit too low, it will hurt your knees because your knee stays in flexion the whole time. You need to sit high enough on the bike to be able to extend your knee to about 15 or 20 degrees. But other things that are safe on your knees are working with a band. So I don't know how much you want to promote me, Chantal, but I've got some great workout videos where you can do amazing. Yeah, I got some amazing workouts where you put a band, a loop. I have one right here. How did that sit next to me? So you put that band either below your knees or around your ankles or above your knees, and you can do less squats and you can do these lateral movements, which are phenomenal for your knees because they work the side of your butt, and the muscles on the side of your butt actually protect your knees from damage. So get yourself a loop band and then look for videos that work your gluteus medius and gluteus minimus. You can also, so loop band exercises, and you'll do side-to-side squats. Awesome.
Well, I think that goes right into our next question because this is something she could do. This is Melissa in Northern Virginia. I'm going to Europe for 3 weeks, which is a dream come true, but I know we're going to be doing a lot of eating and drinking. We are crashing at a couple of Airbnbs, so I don't have the option of a hotel gym. In addition to walking around, what are some simple exercise routines with minimal equipment?
I have a video on that too. So I went for my birthday last year to Europe. We went for 3 weeks. And I did some workouts in the parks. I'm not sure where exactly. Did she say where she was going in Europe?
No, she just said Europe.
Okay, so in England, they have amazing parks everywhere. I would stop and, do some intervals. I would do some push-ups, some burpees, and some mountain climbers in the park, set aside 20 minutes to do interval workouts. And then I had my TRX with me, and I set that up in Barcelona on these on these big poles. And in this park in the middle of Barcelona, I was doing my TRX rows and presses. And I can give you links to all this stuff if you want. But these are workouts that I did on vacation, and just walk a lot. Because the food is actually healthier in Europe. They're not allowed to actually put the same amount of preservatives and salt and sugar and things and chemicals that we're allowed to use that are FDA, not FDA, USDA approved. There's a lot of stuff that's not approved in Europe. Everything is much more organic. Matter of fact, they don't even have to write organic on the package, because in Europe, most food already is.
And we're getting hundreds of emails. I told my husband I really want to go away to Europe, because I don't eat any dairy or gluten, because I just feel so terrible when I eat it. But I have tons of friends who say when they're here in America, they cannot eat dairy or gluten. They feel terrible. But they can go to Europe and they can eat cheese and they can eat bread and they feel like $1,000,000. And so I told him, I said, I'm going there, and I'm gonna test it out and see how I feel when I eat it.
Yeah, and you'll walk a ton, so you'll be active all day because you'll be sightseeing. So I went there for 3 weeks. I had one dessert every day because, I was in Europe. And I came back 1 pound heavier, and it might have been from the airplane. 1 pound in 3 weeks. And again, it might have been water retention from the airline, flying.
Yes. Okay.
So I wouldn't worry about it.
This is Tara in Pittsburgh. Recently, I've had some severe pain in my left shoulder. It came after an intense upper body day. I've gone to the orthopedic and before for something similar, but with my knee, and they said I should rest. My question is, how can I tell the difference in soreness and something being wrong? How long should I wait to go to the doctor? I am 40, so nothing quite works like it used to, and I don't want to run to the doctor every time I ache. I need your input.
Shoulder injuries are the most common injury in the body because there's 3 joints, and it's the most mobile joint in our body. So our shoulders get injured very easily. I have a video on that too, if you can believe it.
Awesome.
I didn't plan it, but I have all these videos on my YouTube channel for, working out on vacation, shoulder injuries. There's definitely shoulder exercises that you need to be doing to protect your shoulders. If you feel a shooting, stabbing, or like a knife-like pain, that's usually a tendon. If you feel a dull, achy pain, that can be arthritis, bursitis, and I'm not a doctor, so I can't really say what you have, or it can be some kind of tear in your rotator cuff, the most common injury of all. But if it just feels sore, like a muscle soreness, like you've just worked too hard, and it's not that like deep pain, if it feels more closer to the skin, then it might just be a pulled muscle. So what do? Put some ice on it, rest it just for a couple of days, see if it goes away. And then when you start working out again, if it's still there, you should go to your physical therapist. Most insurance policies have about 10, 12, 20, or unlimited visits with your physical therapist, and they will help you. About 60% of your improvement will come from just doing physical therapy exercises. I'm making that number up, but it's more than half. They'll ice it, they'll massage it, they'll get stuff in there, but it's highly likely at your age, over 40, that you tore something in your rotator cuff, and it is so common, and those muscles are tiny, like that big, so they're really easy to tear doing something wrong. And it feels like a shooting, stabbing, or a knife-like pain. But awesome. Definitely, go to physical therapy. They'll give you exercises. So I love physical therapy because it's not like going to the doctor where they say rest. You go there and they go, do these exercises. So you're still getting a workout in.
Awesome. Okay, Heather in Chesapeake. I'm a really busy working mom, and my husband travels for work and is gone 75% of the time. I end up having to go for power walks, and I bring my kids with me on their bikes. I enjoy this because we're spending time together and I'm burning calories, but I want to kick it up a notch. What can I do to intensify these walks a bit? This is a great question because I love taking walks too, and I've been feeling like I need to kick it up a notch.
Yeah, so that's the easiest question of all. You add intervals. So you're walking at whatever your pace is, and then have your stopwatch or a timer. I use an app called Tabata Trainer on my phone, but you can use any stopwatch, but mine, it beeps at me. And every time it beeps, I run or go faster. And then it beeps again and you slow down, and then you speed up and you slow down. So when you go fast, whether it's walking fast or taking it to a jog or a run, go breathless. I mean, you can even just feel your heart rate, or wear a Fitbit or an Apple Watch and get your heart rate higher, and then bring it down, go back to your walk, get your heart rate higher. There's something called a fartlek interval. It's funny, it's from Sweden, but just whenever you're feeling like you need to kick it up a notch, go really, really fast and walk uphill. Now, what if you don't have hills, and what if you can't run, or you already are walking fast? Stop, break, find a park bench, step up and down on a high park bench, or do squats to the park bench. Or if you have a little platform, do jumps up and down onto the park bench. So just find little things in your area to get creative with. High steps are a good one. Jumps onto a medium platform, 12, 15, 16 inches that you can jump up and down on. And then walking lunges. And just take some breaks, and that way you get a really nice, good butt and thigh workout, and you can kick it up a notch, and it doesn't have to be straight walking. So the two choices are stop, find something that you can jump up and down on, step up and down on, or even just do some jumping jacks in place or jack squats, and then continue with your walk. Or if you can run, just break into a run, go back to a walk, break into a run. Interval training works for every single type of body. It's been proven. If there's one method that's been proven on every type of human, it's interval training works on every type of human, from people just trying to get stronger to people who are obese.
Awesome. Well, Jill Brown Fitness is her website, and you've got to go check it out. I mean, when you see her body on here, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, what do I have to do to get her body? And like she says, she's over 50 and still looks absolutely amazing. And so what we're doing is, I see those guns. It's like when the sun's out, guns out, right? So what we want to do is Jill is going to be giving a 30-minute free coaching session to you. You can talk about intermittent fasting. You can talk about nutrition. You can talk about your fitness, whatever you want for 30 minutes. We're going to post something on our Facebook site. If you share and comment, one lucky winner will get 30 minutes of Jill's time, and it will be an amazing time. Thank you so much, Jill, for being on the show today, and we just really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
And if you have a question that you want answered, go to questions@chantelrayway.com. See you guys next time. Bye-bye.